Well, apart from the staffing issues that we've got at the moment, of course, the engagement of students is really critical. And what we're finding, particularly in a large school, we've got a wide variety of students, and finding the pedagogies, finding the resources, and finding the approaches that are going to engage every student effectively in their learning is quite a challenge. Breaking away from the one-size-fits-all approach, or from a purely didactic delivery of content knowledge by the expert teacher at the front, into finding different ways of engaging students who've got different learning styles. So we're transforming the way we approach our team building within faculties, and also how that contributes then to curriculum delivery. Understanding that there's a need to engage a wide variety of students who are at different points in their learning, and a wide variety of ability levels within every classroom. We're putting a lot more focus on gathering a lot more data around student performance, and using teams of teachers to analyse those, develop and then analyse those profiles for students, so that we can tailor learning to better meet their needs. Then marrying that with the curriculum content that we're trying to deliver at the same time, and finding again ways of engaging different groups of students within the same classroom, that's quite a challenge. So building a greater digital profile of student achievement, mapping their progress against continuums of learning, mapping that to the syllabus, and then finding the resources which are going to best engage the students, and building teams of teachers working collaboratively to support student improvement. In a secondary school, we're always looking to improve our HSC performance, of course, and our literacy and numeracy, but that's all underpinned by engagement and attendance. So we're focusing really on how we get our students to engage in school, particularly after the hiatus of COVID, where students have had a wide variety of experiences during lockdown. Some students really actively engaged with online lessons and learning from home, other students totally disengaged, and trying to bring that engagement in the classrooms back, and making sure that way we can build those foundations which are going to lead into improvements in literacy and numeracy and HSC results. A lot of that is around making sure that students have got equitable access to technology, not just at school, but also at home. And in a regional area, that can be quite a challenge, particularly when we've got students coming from very small communities outside of the major centres. And tracking that information adequately so that we know that the teaching programs we're delivering are having those incremental improvements in student outcomes which build into the major outcomes we're after. The question around innovation in education is a really interesting one, because people automatically want to focus on technology and the use of platforms like Google Classrooms or Microsoft, or a lot of schools are now engaging with a learning management system called Canvas. It doesn't matter what the learning management system is, or what the technology is. It's actually just a tool. The greatest innovations come in the way we develop our programs, the way we modify our pedagogy to engage students. And the most effective teachers do this through an effective interplay between technology, and technology can be a digital platform. In the old days, of course, it was an overhead projector. The technology itself is largely irrelevant. It's actually that human interaction that people need to really focus on. And so the most effective innovations that I see are where we have teachers tailoring their teaching programs because they know their students, they know how they learn, they know what's going to engage them. They can contextualise it to meet could be cultural or geographic or social dimensions of their environment, of their community in which they live. And it's building those connections between teacher and student, and really developing the higher order thinking skills, as opposed to simply trying to deliver a range of content through a platform. And so where we get that rich and sophisticated interplay between teacher expertise, pedagogy, understanding of students and where they're at and how they learn, and then selecting the appropriate technology, that's where we see some really truly innovative practice take place. And we're seeing students who are really engaging in learning and achieving outcomes beyond teacher expectations, because this broader approach to teaching and learning that's been necessitated because of COVID and because of the lockdowns and because of more equitable and greater access to technology is allowing students to really design their own learning and to choose particular paths within a focus area which are contextually relevant to them. And some of the outcomes we're seeing as a result of that freedom is quite impressive and quite liberating for teachers. One of the great takeaways from today has been Professor Beswick's discussion around the importance of equity and access for education, because we know that until we can improve access to education for students regardless of their socioeconomic background, regardless of their geography, regardless of their cultural background, we're not going to achieve equity in education. And we know that as a system and as a nation, we're not going to reach our potential unless we are giving every student access to the highest quality of education, regardless of their school, their location, their family background. And some of the data around that is really quite powerful. The fact that we know that when you accommodate for low SES factors, for example, that our public schools are performing at world level. The improvement in student growth that our teachers achieve should be celebrated. And too often we fall into negative mindsets around a simplistic standardised test measures. It's far more nuanced than that, and that rich and research-based discussion around equity and excellence and access is something we need to be having more often.